Hey guys, it's me, Jane Bond, and I am here today with Laura Moritz. This woman has a lot of energy. She's like me. And welcome to another episode of Unpack Your Life, guys. So, Laura is a mortgage broker. She grew up in a real estate family. She learned a great deal about real estate and the ins and outs of the industry at a young age. Over her past 35 years, Laura has assisted thousands of consumers with their mortgage needs. And guys, I'm in real estate, even though this is Unpack Your Life, our talking about agency and authenticity. This is still a part of my business and it shows who I am and where I come from also. So Laura is a great person to have on the show today. She also prides herself on her extensive knowledge, resources, and experience as well as her desire to exceed everyone's expectations. She's also an author of the book Winning Connection. So this is something we're going to talk to her about. She's licensed in New York, New Jersey, and Florida. Guys, you have someone that you can work with in several states. She's an expert in financial problem solving, and she's a public speaker, coach, educator, facilitator for topics including mortgage origination, business, and personal development. She's going to tell us all about her book, Winning Connections, and how she got started. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I want to start with you talking about how you pivoted, in your life and realized you had to unpack first and foremost to being authentic. And you talk about a story with your neighbor. Tell us about that because authenticity is very important when you're dealing with people and business. So I want to start with the people part.
Love that because it's true. Because a business model that's based on anything but authenticity is
Mhm.
destined to topple at some point. So I let who I am bleed into my business model, and
Okay.
I've always allowed, that part of my authentic self to, be a part of my business. So I was a single mom, and I was doing pretty well for myself. I was working really hard, and I had a new house, and I had a boat, and a new car. And I happened to get a second car, which was a red, shiny sports car. And I put it on my driveway, and I woke up in the morning with a really nasty note on the car. And I was
Ooh.
surprised because I didn't really have any contact with my neighbors. I kind of kept to myself with my children. I was really surprised that somebody would leave me a mean note on my car.
Absolutely.
Nothing happened. And a lot of people in the area where I lived, unfortunately, were very much affected firsthand by 9/11. A lot of my neighbors lost their husbands or wives or sisters or brothers, and it was really a bad time for us. You could see the smoke, from where we lived, and it was a constant reminder. And people were just really being as kind to each other as we need to be.
Absolutely. I was
Yeah, if you remember, so I happened to have an encounter with my neighbor at the mailbox, and I knew he worked in Manhattan. He was a doorman of all things. And he said he wasn't working, and I knew he had two young children. When I say young, I mean under 4. And I said to him, how much is your mortgage payment? And he told me, and I said, hang on a second. And I went in and I got my checkbook and I wrote him a check for 6 months of mortgage payment. But before I wrote the check, I had to ask him his name because I didn't know his name. I
wow.
just knew he was my neighbor. So I wrote the check and I said, if there's ever a chance to pay me back, you will. And I knew that I would be okay without the money, and I knew he wouldn't. So I felt it was important if I could help somebody that I did. A lot of time passed and I never got money, and I honestly didn't care. But I was in Walmart one day and I looked over and I saw the gentleman with his family, which are now, 10 and 8. And they had a cart filled with stuff that you didn't have to really buy, like DVDs. And you could rent them at Blockbuster at the time for 99 cents. And the
Right.
man's cart
I
was
remember.
overflowing.
Yes.
And he looked at me and he looked at his cart, and I could tell that he had shame. I could feel it from him
Wow.
because his head went down, and I know he said to himself, I never tried to pay her back, which to me was all good. Like, I never expected to get paid back.
Right.
But when I got home, somebody knocked on my door, and lo and behold, it was the man's wife. She said, I have a confession to make. May I come in? And I said, absolutely. And she said, I just want you to know that I'm the person that left the terrible note on your car 2 years ago. And I looked at her and I said, but I don't even know you. And she said, I know. And I feel terrible because my husband just told me that you paid for our mortgage for 6 months. And she said, but I decided that I hated you. And I
Oh,
said, you hated me.
interesting.
And I said, but why did you hate me? Because I never met you before today. And she said, because you're everything that I'm not. And
Wow.
you're doing everything. She said, I'm dependent on him and he's not nice to me. I don't have a job. I have no income. I don't have a nice car. She said, you take care of your body, you take care of your family. And she said, and I've quite frankly hated you for that.
Wow.
Much so that I got up in the middle of the night and wrote a mean note and left it on your windshield just because I wanted you to hurt. I wanted to hurt me. But she didn't even know me.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
So she said, I'm ashamed of myself. And I thought really long and hard about that because it really affected me. I couldn't have been kinder, and she couldn't have been more, insecure and negative. And it was a pivotal moment in my life. I started at that moment a national women's organization where one of the foundation of the whole group was based on security, where women empowered each other.
No mean girls allowed.
We had a no mean girl policy.
Right.
And because of that, my life is very different today than it would have been if I didn't do that. She was the catalyst for me not allowing jealous people in my life any longer in any capacity.
That must have really impacted you. I
A
mean,
million.
when someone would just write a note and put it on your window. I mean, you don't know where that came from. You weren't sure. I mean, if it came from a woman or a man or whatever. I mean, that's a scary thing to come out and find a note like that on your car shield. And then come to find out 6 months, 8 months later, when you paid for this person's mortgage, it's the wife.
Yeah.
That would have floored me also.
And she didn't even know until that moment. Like, it's not like she was harboring resentment because
Hmm.
I paid the mortgage. She didn't know until the day. And 2 years had passed before.
Wow, wait a second. You
Two
gave
years.
this person 6 months rent, 6 months mortgage.
Yes.
They never said one word to you. They never paid you back.
No.
And then the wife ended up knocking on the door to tell you about
Yes.
the note. Oh my God. That's a scary thing.
Yes. And when I saw the power of jealousy and
Yeah.
insecurity, I became like this. Like, I was like the anti. So I'll give you an example. I started this group called the National Women's Network, and I
Okay.
opened chapters through the tri-state area, and it was all about being collaborative. I said, when men get pulled over, they call their friend and say, can you help me get out of a ticket? If a
Mhm.
woman gets in trouble, one woman to the other, bitch, she's out of the game. It's kind of like there was only room for one Miss America to make it on the
Right.
square, number one, number two, number three, and all the rest of the girls had no value. That's
Oh
kind of how
God.
society programmed women to think. There was
Absolutely.
only one queen, then there was a princess, and everybody else was a peasant.
Right.
So, a woman was striving for that. And so in my national women's organization, I made a lead and I said, I, as a banker, am going to invite 5 other bankers to come to this. I had an attorney, I had a judge, I became very good friends with several judges in my community. And I said, the prerequisite is that most networking, there's a false sense of security. I'm the only banker in the room. I own the business because I'm the one here. That's
Right.
not the real world.
No,
Get
that's
used
not.
to playing in a sandbox with other people who do what you do,
That's
who look
right.
the way you do, who might be as
Relationships.
successful as you are or not, but
Hmm.
be okay with it one way or another and realize that we're all good at something.
Absolutely.
And whatever we're good at, if you're good at technology and I'm bad at it, but I'm great at resolution for conflict, if you have a conflict, ask me to help you resolve it. If my cable on my computer's not working, I'm going to call you and you're going to help me.
That's
That's
right.
what men do. Men help each other.
They sure do. And they stick together.
and they stick together. And I told them that they had to follow those rules in the protocol to be in my national women's group. And that's when magic in my life started to occur. There
That
was no more jealousy. There was collaboration. There was peace.
makes
There was no static. There was no gossip. Like I eliminated all of that a very long time ago from my life because of what happened to me with my car that day.
You have to collaborate without ego if you're going to be within a group of people and you're going to be all working for the same cause. I mean, to collaborate and have ego, it's always going to just blow up in your face.
1,000,000%.
It's not easy to find like-minded people, but when you do, you find your tribe, so to speak. It works.
A
You
million
know,
percent.
especially with women that are supportive and want to see you rise, take your crown from one person to the next person is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
We're all rising together.
1,000,000%.
And I think a lot of women don't get that. I don't know if it's changing through generations, but I don't see it. I mean, I think more women are much more supportive today than they were because they didn't know, who was who or how it was going to be handled. And we were treated like that, first one and there's no
Yeah.
second or runner up. It's you and that's it. You're the only woman in the room. You're the only woman, a part of the hedge fund team. You're the only lawyer at this huge corporate firm. You're the only female. You're the only one they let in. So other women probably would look and go, oh my God, well, it's between she and I, as opposed to it's between the both of us. And we're going to support each other. And whoever wins, I'll be there for you. And
Yes.
that's the way it's supposed to go because that's a team. That's a
That's
team
right.
player.
And that's how life works, business, life, anything, any relationship. If it's not collaborative, then just give it
What
up
is
there.
it?
Don't even enter into the relationship at all.
Oh, it takes a whole lot of people to make one person successful. One
Hmm.
person cannot do this by themselves. You might be at the helm, but there's your support chart and your team and your organization that's bringing you to that part. But what we have to remember when we're rising is we have to take care of our people that are supporting us. It
That's
has
right.
to be incentive there built in so they can continue to support us and they don't start feeling less than or not enough because
That's right.
a lot of women today do feel less than and not enough. And you have to be careful of that with women in general, I think. And it goes back to what I said. We weren't let into the boardrooms as a group of
Well,
people. It was
and I
just one at
think
a time.
women's lib, I think women achieved much higher success, let's say, at their careers. But the reality is the household responsibilities, the children, the burden of that is still primarily, in most cases, in a regular family scenario on a woman's shoulders. So I think a woman in today's world is getting pulled in so many
We
directions
take care of everything.
and feeling like I should be celebrating the fact that I just made the vice president, role and beat
Right.
out six guys legitimately, and I'm the best that there is at this company. And I know that it's going to be, a challenging position for me, and I'm up for the challenge. I'm ready to go. But at the same time, I have to be home at 6 o'clock to
Right.
make dinner and
Make
get
dinner.
and it's you're getting pulled in so many directions and
Yeah.
there's so much guilt. Your eyebrows need to be arched properly, your lip liner needs to be blotted perfectly. Why didn't you get the latest fashion trend?
Right.
And men aren't really pulled in as many directions at the same time as a
Oh,
highly
God.
successful woman
No.
is.
They can come in looking frumpy and do the work
Right.
and go home and nobody talks about them. Let you come in looking frumpy.
Exactly. But a highly successful woman does get pulled in. And I think there's a lot of women that I know that are a little resentful of women's lib to say, what are we celebrating here, really?
Right.
You know,
Because we still take care of every damn body.
it's more pressure than ever. And now that I have achieved the pinnacle of my career, to stay here is a lot of pressure. And it's a lot of pressure,
Do you think we have to make a numerous amount of sacrifices to be there
Yeah. And you
as
have to
women?
really want to
Even
do it.
today.
The squeeze has to be worth the juice. Like, what are you sacrificing to do this? What side of the equation? There's always going to be a give and take. If
Hmm.
you're taking it from one, we only have so many minutes in a day. And if
That's
you're
right.
taking the minutes and moving them over here, then okay, then something has to give, you
Yeah.
know? at
They
some
say you
point.
erase and you replace.
Exactly.
Nothing gets easier. It doesn't get eliminated.
And it's prioritization as to what's most important to you at this moment in time, I guess.
So how do you navigate life now since, that incident happened to you?
A lot has changed. I've been an independent banker for 36 years. I worked from home before anybody worked from home. There was no internet, there was no Facebook. I used to live on an island with my children for a few years. So we
Oh,
kind
I
of,
love
and I lived on the island working, I mean, with no internet. When I think about it, the fact that I was successful back then,
that.
and since that time, now my children are adults. I did a lot of cool things like along the way. I was in a movie, I taught at New York City Law School and published a book. All those accolades have nothing to do with me. What it has to do with is I led a juicy life, put it that way.
Nice.
I was like the biker correspondent for a television show. I got to do a little bit of a lot of things, if that
I
makes sense.
love it. I love that's what life is about, being adventurous,
Yes.
taking risks.
It's like the poo-poo platter of,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a charcuterie
absolutely.
board of life.
Who
And
said you had to be one thing? That's what I don't get. You can be so many different things and a culmination of all of them.
that's right.
That's who we are. We step into whatever adventure we're interested in and we keep moving. No one said I had to stay a lawyer all my entire
There
life.
you go. And I didn't want to be linear. I wanted to live the width of my life. And
100%.
I wanted to have a juicy experience. And I didn't want anyone to tell me to do it any other way.
You
So if
want
this
to,
meant that
yeah,
I
you
had
can
to be by
learn.
myself, then I would be by myself, and so be it. There's a lot of good that came by being alone for a while and
Honey,
being
I
able
love
to
it. I
and not
love being alone.
static in my life, right? So since that, I'm in a relationship that's wonderful where there's no static and you can see the value of being in a
No trauma.
relationship with the right partner, right? But there's also times, and I remember like I had a friend come over and she was explosive about her husband and this and that. And we took a piece of paper and I just started scribbling on it with different colors, crayons. And she
Hmm.
said, "What are you doing?" And I picked up the picture and I said, "This is your life." And it was just all scribble all over it with different colors. And I said, "Now try to put a picture on here that appeals to you." And like, and she's like, looked at it like, and then I said, "This is my life." And I picked up a paper and I picked up the crayons and I go, let me start to create something here. And she's looked at her paper and she said, "I don't like my paper." And I said, "Well, you can do something about that. And
Absolutely.
it's going to require you being brave for a little while,
Mhm.
making some sacrifices. But if you really want to have a clear place where you can create anything you want, you have to get rid of the static."
Oh, the clutter.
And all exactly, you got to take the garbage out, and
Yeah.
it's going to be scary.
Oh my God. I used to tell my friends that all the time. I said, you cannot clear a path unless you push the trash from in front of your door. I
That's
said,
right.
no one else is going to be able to enter that door to take you where you want to go. No one's coming to save you, but they might come and collaborate with you to help you move forward. You know,
Right.
you have to remove the trash before anything can happen.
1,000,000%.
Because if it's going to block your way, it's even in your brain. It's going to block your pathways to, thinking clearly and
People are
about what you
paralyzed.
want to do.
And there's so many people who are paralyzed
Oh,
in with
stuck.
a relation, just one relationship in their life is paralyzing them from doing
Right.
anything. Not just everything, but anything. I mean,
Well,
if you think
that's a
about that.
crazy thing because, I felt paralyzed and I didn't understand why because I've never been paralyzed. I've never been stuck anywhere. And I felt stuck at that point in my life. And, this is how Unpack Your Life came about is because I felt like I couldn't move. I was isolated. I was not seeing, what was on either side of me. And I definitely didn't see what was in front of me. I was just seeing where I was. And I said, you know what? This is not who I am.
Hmm.
Only I can make me happy. And
That's
before I
right.
make me happy, I need to be joyous with inside
Yes.
to move forward.
Yes.
So it took me everything I had inside of me to get up the courage, And it wasn't about being having fear. It was more of failure for me.
Yes, that's
I
the
felt
biggest
like
fear,
I was
fear of failure.
failing everything and everybody around me, but I couldn't help anybody anymore because I was stuck in my own thoughts. And
Yes,
I had
yes,
to
it's
move. I had to decide to be true to myself
yes,
with my thoughts
love it.
and then move forward. And
Yes,
once I realized the truth of what was happening, which was, it was all about me.
hmm,
It was what I wanted. I felt like a bird caged without a song. And birds can't sing if they're caged. Most of the time, they're crying for help to let me out of here. We
yes,
just don't know it. But that's how I felt. And I thought, okay, I have to figure this out. How am I going to, one, navigate this whole situation? How am I going to live in my own truth and protect what's really, what's really authentic to me, and then also protect what I have to leave because it's not about them either.
right, exactly. You don't want it to be collateral damage,
Right, it's integrity too, about it's a being honest about the situation, and it had nothing to do
right?
with what
It's
was
not
going
just
on.
that cliche, it's
Yeah,
me, not you. It's truly what it is.
it's me.
Yeah.
It
And
was
you
all
heard
about
that
me.
the people around you, your circle around you doesn't inspire you. It's
No.
not a circle, it's a cage.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
you did have the cage and you were able to free yourself, which is amazing that you're able to do that. And yes, be conscious of the people in the way, not in the way, but who are involved and,
Absolutely.
and going to be not necessarily supportive of the decisions and choices that you make and the direction that you want to go.
Yeah, but it's no need to bring them into the picture when you know it's about you. You make a decision, you move forward with your decision. Thank God I didn't have kids. That would have been
Right.
something totally different. But I had to protect the integrity of what was happening
Hmm.
because when you speak about certain things, people surmise everything. So, when you're telling your story, there's a way to tell it within the integrity of the story itself
Yes.
and not leaving it open for people to because somebody asked me, oh, so what happened, did you leave your husband? And I was like, well, no, not really. I left a lot of things.
Right.
Don't let's not
That
focus on that.
window. Right. I agree with that. 1,000,000%. And through
Yeah.
the years, like we all go through, I've had some experiences in life, as we all have, that have shaped us along the way. I got fired 9 months pregnant by an employer.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that. Let's move into that while we're talking about this because you were fired at a really pivotal moment in your life, like
Mhm.
pregnancy. So let's walk into that.
So I always did mortgages, and when my mom was a realtor, and in college I got into this mortgage company, and I used to work weekends and when I could in college breaks. And then somebody said, "You really need to get a secure job," and I
Oh,
said, "Okay."
what does that
So
mean
I
today?
know. So I went down this corporate rabbit hole that I can't believe that I did, but it lasted for a few years because it was secure. And
Right.
I had a paycheck, and it was what my family said I should do. I was getting married, and I had my daughter, and I was making very good money. It was a high-end software company. We did mainframe software through the country, so I was traveling through the country, old school way.
Mhm.
And anyway, I went in and out of maternity leave with my first, and then with my son, we built a new house. I was the breadwinner of the family back then, and I was starting maternity leave in a week, and my employer called me into his office and told me that was my last day today. And I said, "For
Just
what?"
like that.
Yeah, he said, "Well, women never come back from the second baby. They only will string us along and
Oh,
to keep your territory open. And my commission is based on the volume of business that comes into this territory. And I know what's going to happen. You're going to keep stringing your maternity leave along.
oh, so you're gonna fire me?
Therefore, you're fired."
Oh
But
my God!
I found out that I was the seventh woman that this man fired.
Wow.
And I drove home and went into premature labor. We gave up the house and lost a sizable down payment because we really couldn't afford the mortgage without my income. And I
Wow.
wasn't in a position to go on a job interview. Um, I had my son. I got a ride home from the hospital. My husband did not come to pick me up because football was on that day. So start
Right.
to layer this now. Um, his team was playing. So yeah, I got a
I
ride home.
think that's the worst thing I've heard in a long time. My husband
Yes.
didn't pick me up from the hospital because a football game was on.
Now, not just a
Right.
football game, the Giants game. Let's
Oh, the
qualify
Giants.
that.
I mean, the people that are losing
Who
right
would
now.
exactly? Who would give up anything for the Giants? I wouldn't give you my. So anyway, yeah. It was we got married and divorced. Over the New York Giants, which is the joke of the whole thing.
Wow.
I've read since then a lot of articles about women giving birth and then the way that they're treated the first like 3 to 6 months after they give birth and how it shapes them for life. And I didn't realize this was going on. That like it's a protective bear giving birth, right? And then you come home and no one's protecting you. It shaped me as a person, as a woman. It was like iron, you know, sharpens iron. Well, let me tell you something.
Iron sharpens iron. That's right.
Yeah, that whole experience with getting fired from this man who, I called a civil attorney right away and he said, I would love to take the case. And I thought about it and I said, how am I going to go to this federal court in Newark, New Jersey with a 2-year-old and a
Mm,
newborn baby? I couldn't
mm.
even get this man to pick me up from the hospital. I need to get back to work.
Right.
So what I did was jump back into the mortgage business, which I could do from home while taking care of the kids. And then I thought about it and I said, I love that guy for firing me. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. If I
Right.
accepted the money from the lawsuit, I wouldn't have been building my mortgage business. I would have gone on with that news piece of paper with all that scribble and negativity all over. I would have been burned.
Scatterbrain. Scatterbrain.
Instead, I didn't want all that negativity in my life. And yes, I could have sued and I could have won a lot of sizable money.
Right.
You know what? I'm so glad I got fired that day. I'm so glad I didn't sue him. And I'm so
Wow.
glad that it was the catalyst for me to become a mortgage banker again and
Wow.
to get rid of security in life and
Mhm.
replace it with independence, which is real security.
Yeah, well, independence and, living on your own terms and working the way you want to work and building businesses. We have a lot of amazing women doing that today. And
Yeah.
even the younger generation, they have realized that the corporate rabbit hole can get them in trouble.
Yes.
And then here it is, 300,000 women have just been fired from their jobs. So,
Yes.
what do you do with all that information? Even as an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to think to yourself, this is what I have to stay on track doing because I
Mhm.
can't trust, the tradition.
Right.
The
I
tradition.
felt like I couldn't trust anything, anybody except
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was really going to not ever fail myself because failing myself would mean I was failing my family. And failure wasn't an option. The
No, it
fact
can't
that
be.
going to the gym 7 days a week wasn't never for me. It was always so that I could remain healthy and there for my kids.
Wow.
Maybe to outsiders, it appeared that I was selfish because I was taking care of myself, but I was really being selfless by being better prepared to take care of my
Right.
family.
Absolutely. Taking helm.
But to the woman across the street who was overweight and didn't get up at 4:30 in the morning to do her workout before the kids got up, she
Okay.
hated me for looking good.
Well, they say, listen, what you will do and that next person won't do will show you the outcome.
That's right.
You're committed to the process, they're committed to a result.
Uh-huh.
And when you're committed to a process, no matter what you do, you just keep going. You just keep going, and something will unfold. When you're committed to the out
Results.
and results,
Yeah.
it never happens
That's right.
because your time, you become impatient, you become, sure of yourself, you become insecure, you just don't know what to do at that point. You have to just keep moving forward. And that's what I've done all my life. I've never worked for anyone. I had one job with the airlines, and other than that, I have to make the phone ring no matter
Right.
what I do.
Your rainmaker.
Yeah, you have to make that phone ring. I
That's
remember
right.
picking up the phone going, is anybody there? Is the phone broke? Nobody's calling me. I remember those days so well. So, when things happen, when certain things happen, in general out here, I say to myself, I'm always going to win because
That's
I'm
right.
going to get out there and put my foot down on the gas and keep moving. I
That's
don't
right.
see what's in the rearview mirror. I never look back. You got to keep forward. And if you do go back, it better be for a damn good cause.
Yes, you're not kidding. And one thing I can say too that's as monumental for me is I dropped resentment and became grateful for people who failed me. But the
100%.
people that I'm most grateful for are the people that failed me the most. So much so that when I see my ex-husband, I go up and give him the biggest hug. And I tell my son he's a great dad. He's a great husband. My
And
son
you're
looks
happy.
at me and I said he was a great man. Like if he
Yeah.
wasn't such a failure, I wouldn't be such a success. Is there any other way to put it? But
Yep.
I am most grateful for the people who have failed me the most in
Oh,
up to date, like in shaping me into the person or the woman that I've become, you
I,
know,
but I believe you 100%. So tell me about standing in your own truth.
from the perspective of where I am now.
Yes.
So now I understand that there's so much value to not the experience, the knowledge that I've accumulated over the 63 years I've been on this earth. My own truth right now is all about me sharing what who I am and what I know with others in efforts to make their life easier. Because that's really what I mean. What I do as a mortgage banker is share my experience, my knowledge. They don't know about the 160 mistakes that took place behind the scenes in the
Oh, God,
transaction.
yes. Right.
All they know is they sat at the table and wow, that was a really smooth experience. And I'm standing in the corner there with like cuts on and bruises on me, but it's
Okay.
okay. Like what I know how to do and what I know about, like my truth right now is about empowering other people with knowledge. Knowledge is power. I mean,
Knowledge.
it's the ultimate power.
Yes.
And we're so bombarded with half truths and basically fundamentally lies coming at us from so many directions that
Yes.
nobody really even knows what it even is the truth anymore. So it's all perspective. But from where I stand, if I can make the slightest little droplet in an ocean and change
Mhm.
one person's life with some knowledge or truth that I could share with them, then that's wonderful. If I could change 100 people, then that's awesome.
Absolutely.
If I could change a million, then, but that's really what my whole world is centered on right now is helping people with the knowledge that I've accumulated through my experience.
Absolutely. So,
Going in eyes open. So, like I'm in Florida now and I bought this house sight unseen really and in a town that I know nothing about where I
a
didn't know.
great town, Jupiter.
No, I just went bing. I'm in Jupiter. I live across the street from the beach. Then
I
I went
love it.
down to Florida and I bought a house. I didn't know one person. I didn't know any business people here. I made all business relationships, wonderful friends. I mean, it was amazing. But
I
I
think
literally came into a town that I didn't know anything about or anyone about, and I didn't second guess my desire to come here. Like I just followed my intuition and I just did it.
I love
And
that.
and I realized that a lot of people, number one, don't trust their intuition whatsoever. Number two, don't listen to it because there's no peace in their life, so they can't even hear it.
Hmm.
Right?
No, right. You're right.
This house, I redid this entire house, every room, every window, door, roof, bathroom, kitchen, everything by
I,
myself, sleeping on the corner of the floor of my office with the backpack with the peace sign on it and my dog. And I wasn't influenced by anybody else when I designed the house.
I
I
think
did
that's
made every selection of tile, paint, every designing choice was mine. So now, and I'm not saying I have the best house in the world. I'm not suggesting that.
fantastic.
But when people come over my house, every person that walks in said, I don't ever want to leave here. I feel like it's a sanctuary.
And it's yours and it's a part of you. It feels like I don't think it's anything better than walking into your home. I'm a former interior designer, I'm a real estate agent. I look at homes all the time. Then, it's the symphony of people's lives when you walk through their homes, that's who they are. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It characterizes that person because anyone that lives in their home, it's about them.
That's
It's what
right.
they love. For me, I love waking up and putting candles on, even though it's broad daylight. You
That's
know, I love listening to music in the morning and getting myself together. Sometimes even dancing and having a good time.
beautiful. I
I
need
need
to
my
wake up at
energy.
your house sometime.
You should, because
Yeah,
my
let's
house
do
is
this together.
fun. Yeah, I wake up, I make my coffee. Well, the coffee is making itself. I put my music on, I light my candles, I do my little exercise, and then I start dancing. And I'm like, okay, now I'm ready for my day, whether
Yeah,
I'm leaving out or not, or I'm having a podcast talking to someone like you. I'm enjoying myself the whole time.
I
I said,
love it.
nothing will make me unhappy ever again. And if it does, it's my own fault.
You're awesome. I love you.
I'm telling you, we're like sisters. I moved in
I
my
know. Amen to
I
you.
did
Where have you
everything.
been all my life, Ian?
Laura, I'm telling you, I did all of this. I love interiors, one. I love where they're going today, and I love the fact that you said, the people that you get mortgages for today are between 28 and 48. And I want to get into that because young people are a little different than they were when I was growing up in my 20s and 30s. We were just like having a ball. We didn't
Yeah.
have any care in the world. And most of my friends owned their own properties. So now I see that kind of change coming back because I think it was for maybe a decade or so, and it could be the market crashed and everything. They couldn't afford those homes. But now young people are buying beautiful, significant properties and they're making the money on their own. It's not the corporate jobs that are giving it. These
That's
people are
right.
nomads. These people are business owners themselves and they know what to do. They're more educated, they understand things because when I was growing up, we didn't have those conversations in my home,
Hmm.
about financial literacy and generational wealth. But the younger people today, they have more access than we did.
That's right.
Like you said, there was no internet, there was
Yeah,
no
you have to get an encyclopedia out of the
you had to
living
find
room.
your own you had to find your own information. Today, information is expensive,
Yes.
and people like you and myself, we have a lot of it because
Yes.
we've been
Yes.
in this business for a long time. I've been several things. I've been an interior designer. I staged homes. I can't walk in a home without looking and going, okay, I know exactly what we're doing here. Boom.
Hmm.
That is my, value proposition to my clients that I am a former interior designer. Well, I'm not going to say
Intellectual property that
yeah.
can't be picked up
It
from
can be
anybody
picked up
else.
and no one else can take it away from me. It's
That's right.
something I love, something I've learned through traveling, through understanding, quality as opposed to quantity, fabrics, architecture, floors, hardware, all of that. I love all of that. The part of selling real estate and purchasing real estate, I'm not so in love with, but what keeps me there is I know exactly what I'm doing. And it's an
Right.
attachment. It's like a relationship, a love hate relationship.
I got you
We
on
have
that.
people like you, right, mortgage brokers,
Yeah, I got you on it.
exactly. You don't love it, but you
Right.
love to make it happen for people.
That's right.
I like the deal. I like getting the deal over the net, making sure everybody is satisfied, and then we all go home.
I like it changing people's lives and
Yeah, of
exceeding
course.
expectations. I love that they reach back out to me later and say, "You changed my life for the better,"
Oh, and you let them
by
move
encouraging
forward.
them to do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And they moved forward with a new chapter in their lives.
That's right. And a lot of them
And
were
that
ready to give
happens
up
for
on their
people.
dreams for myriad of reasons, you know?
Exactly.
So encouraging people not to give up on their dreams and then seeing them achieving them is very fulfilling to me.
So let me ask you this, and this is, right off the cuff here. How do you feel about home ownership today? After
Um,
everything we've learned, what's happening, the political landscape, and I don't want to get into politics either, but everything has shifted. How do you feel about home ownership today?
I feel it's more important than ever before. I've never seen rents, excuse me, accelerate the way they have over the last 5 years.
This is
I've
true.
never received as many phone calls as I have from people that just can't afford another rate increase, a rent increase, and they're being displaced. They're basically homeless. They can't afford to keep up with the pace of the rent.
Mhm.
Whereas at least if you have your mortgage, you know what your mortgage payment's going to be year after year. And if anything, it will go down because you'll end up refinancing at some point, right? So historically, if you look at where the rates have been, we're really not that high. We're just higher than the under market rates that we got too used to too long, right?
No, I don't understand. I mean, I know 30 years ago when I bought my house, my first house,
Yeah.
my rate was at least almost 6%.
Mine was
And
18%.
And that was in 95. I bought my house. So I know I was a little upset because my friend, he had gotten like 5.2 and I was 5.9, and I was really trying to negotiate that down. But I knew nothing about purchasing property. I was by myself. I didn't even have an attorney. And today I would never, ever, ever close a deal without an
Me
attorney.
neither. I'm
I don't
a
care what anybody
huge
says.
proponent of that. In Florida, they don't believe in
It's
attorney.
not an attorney state, of
Right.
course.
But I
You can get
always
in trouble
encourage
with
people
that.
to get, you're spending this much money, you're not going to spend the money on an attorney. Why would you do that? So
It,
I
it
always
doesn't
encourage.
make sense. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
But as homeowners are concerned, like my son bought his first house at 23. Now
Okay.
he's 32, he's on his third. So, you know, I mean, where do you save that kind of money? Like for a 20-year-old to save $100,000 out
Mhm.
of their paycheck is not an easy feat. It's not easy for somebody in their 50s to save
Absolutely.
$100,000. So flipping real estate and getting that cumulative appreciation so that you can buy your forever
Compounded
home
interest,
and afford
absolutely.
it, as opposed to burning it with a match. Like I'm all about home ownership. I'm thinking the earlier the better. Um, I did my youngest client's mortgage. He had just turned 18 when he closed, or when
Wow.
he bought it, and his name is Logan. And now he owns a very successful business. And he said to me, "You changed my life because you're the only person who would listen to me." And when he wanted to buy this house, now he's in his 40s. He was 17
Wow.
when I met him. But he said his life was different. He said he even met a woman who was so impressed by him because he owned a house. I mean, it just opens doors for you.
Oh, 100%. You're able to accumulate wealth that way.
It truly,
And if you have someone that could navigate that for you, share with you what those vehicles are, even at the young age of 18, how to accumulate that and
yeah,
how to build upon it, the sky is the limit as far as wealth is concerned, not
it
only
is.
wealthy, but wealth, period. Being able to,
Ownership is the
yeah,
cornerstone of all financial stability.
absolutely. Owning real estate, period.
Yes.
That's
So I
what this
can't
country is
understand how
built
somebody could be not for home ownership. You know what I
on.
mean? Like, no matter what, I think I'm always about buying the house. We can
Right.
figure out a way. There's so many alternative ways to qualify now. Bank statement loans for self-employed people or
Absolutely.
DSCR loans that we can use.
BNC, I just talked to somebody about that.
A
So
lot
many
of
different
different
vehicles.
ways.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't give up. If your credit's in the 500s, don't give up. Call me. I'll show you how to do it. I do a ton
Absolutely.
of reverse mortgages. You'd be shocked in Florida how many really wealthy people have all their money tied up in equity of their house, but don't necessarily have the bank account to keep them as liquid as they need.
That's right.
There's a lot of people coming at me from a lot of different directions. So yeah, I'm all about homeownership.
And I think education is the key.
Yeah,
If you don't have
absolutely.
someone to educate you on how to navigate through this real estate minefield, one, and
Yeah.
industry, you will never know how to move forward as opposed to having home ownership. Or not just, let's take it a step further. It's not even home ownership, it's an investment,
That's
period.
right. Yes.
Investment, real estate, period. Because no matter what real estate you buy, it is an investment.
1,000,000%.
And it's the largest investment that you're ever going to make in your life unless you're buying a corporation or something different like that.
Exactly. Like I have a school teacher in the Bronx, and he, on a school teacher's salary, bought a four family. He lived rent free. He's now buying his third building, and
Mhm.
he's like a real estate tycoon. And if I told you his salary, it's like laughable. Like his salary has so
Exactly.
many benefits. You know what I mean? So don't think that just because, you're only making, X number. I mean, in New York, as we know, you need to make a lot with the taxes and such, but still, you don't need to have a large down payment. It's the equivalent to two iPhones.
Okay.
Let's break it down. He came
Yeah.
to me with the
Depending
two
on what you're
iPhones of
buying.
mine.
Yeah, depending on what you're buying.
Instead of a Bitcoin, I qualified it to iPhones. Like, okay, it's two iPhone upgrades he passed on. I'll
Wow.
buy a house with it. Why
Okay.
not? I
And
mean,
purchase
qualify it.
whatever it may be, you can turn it into something,
Exactly.
you
Don't
know.
go to Starbucks for a year and forgive your upgrades on
Okay.
your phones for 2 years and call me and I'll get you a house.
Okay. Stop saving up for that Louis Vuitton bag that's not going to serve you anything, but you'll lose your keys or something in them. It's just crazy. Like I think about the young people today, and I've just wondered, are they thinking about ownership, or are they thinking about investment? Period. Which one? And I think real estate is the best bet at all times to invest.
Absolutely. Very
You
few
can
people
always
that
sell
I
it, keep
lost.
it, get income from it. I mean, there's so many things you can do with it. So,
Exactly. Yes. Very few people I know in the years I've been in this industry have lost money on real estate over time. I mean, I hardly know a handful, and I know I've done hundreds of millions of dollars of transactions, you know?
how do you stay relevant to the younger generation as far as purchasing homes?
That's a good question. And I think that that's a lot of where not the conflict, but the authenticity comes out,
Mhm.
right? Because if I was going to be truly authentic, you might see me on a social media post wearing my pajama pants at 5 o'clock saying, "Is it bedtime yet?" But instead, there'll be a post with me holding a champagne flute out and about. And
Okay.
there's a fine line between keeping up and then knowing what's best for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I do find, I'll tell you what, I closed a deal in New York that I wasn't allowed to be in the closing because I was female. I had to sit across the hall and get a pedicure. I wasn't allowed in the room because I was.
Wait a minute. Tell me about that. Tell us about that.
And let me tell you, at the time I was mad until the guys convinced me that I had the better position because I was earning all the money. I put the deal together, and it was a religious belief that they didn't
Oh,
want
oh, okay,
me in
okay.
there. So what was I going to do? Right?
Right.
I took the pedicure and I started to be a little bit more relaxed about certain.
Hopefully they paid for the pedicure.
He gave me his black card and he paid for the pedicure.
Okay.
So, and he even bought me a bottle of champagne. So
I
he took
love it.
the
I love it.
champagne, I got the pedicure. They said the joke's on him. It's not on you. And I
Yeah. And who does
okay.
that?
So I stopped. I stopped getting upset about some of this sexist kind of things, and I
Mhm.
started to embrace it because let's be honest, networking with men and doing things, it's a different world. Like
It
for
is a
me,
different
a woman
world.
in a man's world, I would be in the cigar bars with the guys drinking scotch and such. So there's a fine line between being appealing to a group of people, right? And then using your appeal to sell your business and service, which is totally not what I'm about ever.
Right.
And I'm really disgusted and opposed to seeing people do that because I don't want someone to undermine my professionalism. However, I do need to stay somewhat attractive and relative to younger people.
Oh,
Nobody wants to do
100%.
business with their grandmother.
Well, wait a minute, 100%. And somewhat, not only somewhat, attractive to yourself
Right,
and relevant to yourself before you can even step out the door.
right,
Like, I'm primping until I get out the door just to make sure I look good enough for me personally, because it is
right.
about the way you show up. And I
A
always tell
million
you,
percent.
I tell my realtors all the time, I don't care if you're selling a $200,000 house or a $200 million house. It's all about the way you show up, how you express yourself, how you articulate your thoughts, and what is your value proposition?
That's right. A million percent. A
How do you
million
do that?
percent.
You
So
know?
for us as women, like a man can show up a certain way, older and
Don't be.
distinguished. But if I showed up like a grandmother, I looked like I had grandchildren. I don't
No,
think people would see me as a financial expert. I could be wrong, but I
you're
know that
not
I
hip
need.
enough either at that point.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
what do you know? You're not hip enough at that point. What do you know?
Right.
Like, you're not cool enough.
And so I do have to keep up. I do make my videos. I stay on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like you do have to kind of, I don't want to say play the game, but it's not that. You have to be in the game to have a position in it.
Oh,
So yeah,
100%. It's all about
we
marketing.
all have to participate.
Yeah.
But there's ways to do it, and there's unfortunately a lot of people who don't understand the difference, I think.
Well, this is our life now, the whole social media part, the whole marketing part. It's just a different way of marketing because we have technology now. The technology is moving so fast. We have to
We can't even
kind of
keep up
keep
with
up
it.
with it and
I
stay
know.
relevant and
Yeah,
stay relevant,
right.
even with this podcast and everything that I do as far as my business is concerned and switching to new markets. I mean, that was a hell of a job for me.
A
But
million percent.
yeah, so we have to stay relevant. People ask me all the time, where do you get so much energy from, Jane? You're everywhere. You're always going somewhere. You're always doing something. Well, no, it's you're seeing highlights of what I'm doing.
Right.
Usually I'm home. I'm a
Yeah.
homebody too. I'm sorry.
Pajama pants next to me dancing by yourself.
Yeah, I am. I love that. It's like when you find that girlfriend that has the same energy as you and you're both
Yeah.
working.
We definitely have to go dancing.
I love that. I mean, even if I'm at home and I'm working, I'm like, let's do something. Doesn't matter. I think the energy comes from within and
Yes.
how
It's
you
the
feel.
mindset.
Yeah, it definitely is a
It's a
mindset.
younger mindset. It's not about as much if I look young or if I look older. It's about my mind being young, and a young mind is open to,
Staying ageless.
and staying open to change
Yeah, staying
and not being
ageless.
rigid, right? And being
Because
open.
when I was
Take
younger,
advantage of all ages, older, younger.
yeah, when I was younger, I mean, I never even thought about getting older. I don't
Mhm.
recall thinking, you know, soon I'll be 60. It blows my mind when I think about it now. I'm like, it's like, what happened? The years just snapped away.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I went from 30 to 40 to 50. Now I'm pushing 60. I'm like, oh my God, how did this
Hey, at least
happen?
we made it this far. The alternative is not good.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. That's not happening to me.
You know what I mean? So,
I'll
yeah,
be here. I'll be here for a long time
yeah,
and a
good.
good time too. So, but yeah, I really believe that young people look at people like us like we should step back now, like we should fade a little bit. And I think, it was a story out there about older women competing with younger women. And I said to myself, honey, you got to get to where we are.
That's right. Before you can even get
We
into the
are
race.
already here.
You don't just run in the Olympics. You got to start at
Exactly.
the high school level first.
Exactly. You must get here. So, when you started unpacking your life, what did you begin to notice about the way you connected with yourself and others?
I think that that period that I was alone in this house with nobody, just me, no friends, no, and I'm just working, and at the beach, and then just having peace. And I really started to realize and understand what I liked, what I didn't like, what turned me
Mm,
on, what colors felt good, what people felt good. Like most of us don't give ourselves space to really figure ourselves out. You
yeah.
can't figure yourself out when you're with somebody. You can't.
No. Oh my God, you said that.
People are talking to you. People are there's voices and sounds. Like I
You
like
can't
peace. I'm a
concentrate.
peaceful person, and I do so much creative juices flow through me when it's peaceful, and when it's loud, I start to notice it right away. Like I'm not creative.
Right.
Most people are not in a place where they can connect with themselves. That's the truth. I mean,
I
I
think,
don't know if going away to a canyon ranch for a week is a time to, this is a process. It takes time.
yeah, it
And
takes
so I
time.
think that if people are alone, I think the message I would like to say to them is see it as a present instead of and it truly is a blessing. It's not a curse. Being
Mhm.
alone, if you use the time properly, is the best time of your life
It is the best time.
because it's
I'm
when
never
you became,
lonely.
that's right. And it's when you became you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because guess what? Spending time with yourself allows you to realize who you are and what you really want and what you
A
like.
million percent. A million percent. I didn't really know. I mean, I thought I knew myself, but I didn't really know myself until I forced myself to be alone. I was alone by choice. I would call
Oh,
my son up
definitely.
and say, I don't want you to worry about me. And I'm not alone because I can't meet somebody. And he goes,
Right.
Mom, are you kidding me? It's you. I know it's not. I said, I just want you to know it's a choice. Like, this is definitely a choice.
And
It's
it
like
doesn't
going
mean
to
I'm
the laundry.
lonely.
Right. I was never lonely.
No. I
I
think
was
women like us, we don't get lonely. We don't mind spending time alone. And if we do get lonely, we call friends
right.
and
Exactly.
we enjoy ourselves.
That's
It
right.
doesn't have to be a connection with the opposite sex. I think we internalize a lot of passion for ourselves,
That's right.
and at that point, you got to give yourself grace.
Yes.
Oh,
Giving myself grace is definitely something I've learned too.
you have to, and we need a bank of it.
Yeah. I'll bank some hours from you and I'll pass them if you need them.
We have to write checks for giving ourselves grace because we don't give ourselves enough grace.
I agree with that.
I want to digress here because I didn't ask you one question. Have you ever been challenged in the boardroom as a female?
Of course, many times. Like a lot of times in my company, and
How did you handle that?
I've learned to just distance myself because I'm not really interested in competing with boys. I would like to interact with men,
Mm.
but unfortunately, the experience that I had in, the limited experience, which is why I work alone, because I don't really want to have to deal with the psychology of that. It's like, they felt because I was, the top producer, that there must have been some favoritism because I'm female.
Oh
Of
yeah.
course, never because I was good at what I did.
Oh, because you have a skirt on, of course.
Working double the amount of time on things, it was because I was given privileges, which I was never given anything as a
No.
privilege. Matter of fact, it was harder for us, I think, not easier. We were like, you know what I mean? We weren't fed things. They were given to the boys. The boys played golf together. The boys hung out together. They're the ones that passed the names amongst each other. The girls were on the outside.
Yeah.
So,
Because you
yes.
were skirt.
And then I stopped showing up. I started working from home. And I think that another key to my success and my peace and happiness in my life is working from home. Even when nobody worked from home. When COVID came and people started working from home and they were like, this is great. I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's going to be onto this. But I never worked really from the time I got fired corporate. I always worked from home. And I feel like that's one of the very big reasons why I'm successful because I
Absolutely.
never dealt with the office politics and the
Border
pulling back,
town gossip.
the gossip and the water cooler stuff and all the other
Yeah.
politics that goes along. It probably consumes 80% of people's days. They don't even realize it.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's really interesting when I talk to some of the younger agents, and I ask them how do they fare with being out there because there's so many men in our industry now.
Mhm.
It was all about your mother or your aunt, and they wanted to get a job, and we started in real estate, and it was part time, and we sold a house there and a house there. I mean, now we have powerhouses
Right.
like the Barbara Corcorans and the Dolly Lintzes and people like that. And I've run into both of them and worked with, talked to Dolly a few times. And I always tell the agents also, if you don't know who the players are, how are you going to play in this game?
Exactly.
Because this is truly a high stakes, high finance game. And you have to know how to move your chest. How do you move? How do you
You
play?
can't jump on the board unless you know how to play.
That's right. You can't be a major player unless you want to get in and do the work.
That's right. And
And
you
the
have to
work
do
is
the
so
work. Most of
important.
the people are not. I had a couple of assistants along the way, and one of them quit. I said, "Why are you quitting?" He's because I love you. He said, "Because I'm not willing to do the work." He told me.
Yeah, it's a lot of
I
work.
want to be you, but I don't want to do the work.
Oh, well.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Or at least he was honest.
Right, yeah, it's honest. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then another one said the similar thing to me. I want to be successful, but I definitely don't want to work weekends and I don't want to work nights. I was like, well, then you're never going to be successful as a mortgage banker. So I don't know. Go work in a Hallmark store. I don't know what to tell you.
Let me tell you, between mortgage brokers, real estate agents, I mean, anybody that's in this business, it's a lot of work. You
Of
only
course.
get what you put in. You only get out of this what you put in. And the work is hard. It's a grind. It's a real hustle. And you have
Yeah,
to be on top of it at all times because if your pipeline is dried up, it's over.
that's right.
Unless you have other,
Streams of
skills.
income.
You have
Right.
other skills. Like I teach, I coach, I speak. But
I used
when
to
I
do
get
a
that
lot more
check,
of that. I do miss that. I was doing keynote speaking and I did enjoy that. And I would probably in, the next year or so probably want to introduce more public speaking. I enjoy speaking to
oh,
different people.
absolutely. Well, it's empowering people, and giving them the courage to be, to go out there and do,
Yeah,
Sometimes it could be a sea of 400 people and you only three people hear you. But if three people act on it, you've done your job
that's
because you
right.
can't save everybody, but you
That's right.
can speak to everybody.
And if one person, exactly, I feel like if there's one person that I can make a change, great. Like,
Exactly.
yes.
I really enjoyed talking to you. I want to wrap this up, but I have one more question before I wrap this up. And the
Okay.
question is, how do you make tough decisions now that you are in a different space that align with your personal values and long term goals? Because this whole conversation I realized you took agency. That's what you did initially. And you said, you know what? I'm going to live life on my own terms and I'm going to damn sure be happy with this.
Hmm.
So, how do you do that? How do you make those tough decisions?
Well, once I decided failure was not an option, the other standard that I always adhere to is I'm always going to treat somebody the way I want to be treated. So if I'm making a decision on whether I'm going to do it or not, I think, how would I feel if somebody did this to me? As a business professional, as a friend, as a person, as a partner. And I think a lot of times when you're making a decision, that's all you have to ask yourself if you're not really sure, right? But the other thing is, I really began to trust my gut because I made so many. I had to jump off the cliff, and when I started flapping my wings, I was like, "Damn, these things work." I
Okay.
can
I got my own life vest.
exactly. Once I knew I could fly, and then I
Right?
refused to swim with cinder blocks around my neck,
Oh,
I just
God.
soared. So I encourage people to take that first step. It's scary, but
It
your
is.
wings will work. They definitely will work. They will activate and they will work. You just have to believe in yourself.
And you won't ever know if you don't try.
That's right. And a lot of people are very afraid to take the first step. So if you're one of those people and you want to be encouraged, I'll be happy to give you a little push.
Oh, I love it. And you guys, nothing beats a failure but a try.
That's right.
Getting up, pull your bootstraps up, and make sure you go back out there. That's what this is about.
A
You
million
know,
percent. Dusting yourself off, not being too proud. I'm like you. I'm a rainmaker. I'm always picking up the phone, making my phone ring, proactively meeting people. If I have nothing on my calendar, I'm just going meeting people in my town because
oh, me
each
too.
person needs a roof over their head.
I
Like
walk through
there's
my
never going to
streets.
be paint drying underneath. I sent out 300 Thanksgiving cards yesterday, a lot to people that I don't even know. You
That's
know,
okay. Out of
because
sight is
I
out of
will know them now,
yeah,
right? When they get a Thanksgiving card from me. And, it's rainmakers, like you're a rainmaker, a lot of people who have that kind of personality. It's just getting out there and just continuing to shower people with positive energy, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for including me. I'm so happy to
Well,
meet
Laura, it's been wonderful. I'm coming to Jupiter. We're going to see each other.
you.
Either
I
you
can't
come into
wait.
Jersey, I'm right in Philly, and I go
I
back and forth to New York.
I would love, love, love to see you. And
Yeah.
wherever when you're in New York, I'll be in New York. We'll definitely hook up, I'm sure, soon in the
And
not
if
so.
you're in Jersey, I could be in Philadelphia. I live in
Okay, you
Philadelphia
always
and in
have
New
an
York.
open invitation to Jupiter, always. And I'm sincere about that. Ian has too. He knows. You always have an open invitation here.
Yeah, we're going to get together. Matter of
I
fact,
agree.
we should get together with Ian.
Yes, let's do that. He wants to come
Absolutely.
down. We should do it. We'll figure it out.
100%. Guys,
And if I can help you with anything in the future, always reach out. I'm always happy to help.
oh, absolutely. Guys, this is Laura Moritz, and I told you she's licensed in 3 different states: Florida, New Jersey, and what's the last one?
New York.
New York. Like me, right? Duh, Jane. She's licensed in New York, New Jersey, and Florida, and she can help you get your mortgage. And just have a conversation with her if you're interested in looking into purchasing a home or some other investment. Who knows? She has all types of vehicles for you guys. Laura, please tell people where they can find you.
I can be reached directly on my cell phone at, I have several numbers, but they're truncated to the 845-222. Again, that's 845-222-8270. And my email is lmoritz at classicllc.com. By the way, I've been with the same bank for more than 20 years, which in this industry is unheard of.
That speaks for itself. Yes.
Yeah, I've been obviously enticed to go in other directions, but I'm a loyal person and there's never been any reason to contemplate otherwise. Classic is an amazing bank to work for. So I'm very blessed.
Oh, well, who knows? I'll be calling you. I'm licensed in New York, Pennsylvania, and Florida, so we'll definitely do
And
business.
I'm working in PA too, so that's great.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Who knows? I might have something for you. I have people, my family's here, and they're always purchasing properties, so you
I
never
can do
know.
Connecticut and Pennsylvania also. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Florida.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
guys, it's been great having you here with us. I told you I was going to bring someone on that could talk to you about mortgages and life in the financial industry as far as real estate is concerned. And here it is, Laura Moritz. Thank you for joining us, and you know where to find us on all of your podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, etc. I'm Jane Bond, signing off.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Jane. It was such a pleasure.
Absolutely.